Awesome to see
Joey.
the Immortals Academy team happy, excited with their Cribs tour, and happy and excited after ending their loss streak with the Game 1 victory right there. But they had to work for that one, Joshi. That was insane.
That was one of the longest games we had so far in Academy. But impressed that they finally pulled through. And also, Joey was definitely the star, maybe not of that game, but definitely the star of that little documentary, right? The guy's just so effortlessly funny. I don't know if I've seen him just like chirp other people like that. And all of the interactions with Arrow just makes me feel kind of gooey inside.
And having that level of camaraderie means a lot for when you play games this long. You gotta like each other, man.
Reminds me of when we hang out, Desterix, all the cuddling on the couch. But with that said, we're going to bring it into our halftime show now while we get ready for pick and ban of game number 2. And we're bringing one back. Dang nabbit. It didn't work last time because Magical completely hijacked the show, but Pog of War is the name of this one. For anybody at home who doesn't know what a green screen is, Joshi, can you demonstrate by turning your filter off? Joshi, his wall is not actually blue. It's in fact a green screen behind him. No, that was correct. That was correct. Just turn it off. Or, I mean, if you want to change it, feel free. Now what I need you to do, Joshi, is minimize it, okay? Minimize your screen so you can't see yourself.
See what is happening.
Joshi no longer has visuals of himself. Production, you can put up anything you want. To the audience, it's just kind of black right now, but you can see the green screen technology behind you right now. We can throw up anything we want behind Joshi. He has no idea. So what we're going to do is we're going to play a game that we call Pog of War, where me and Desterix are 2 news anchors with Joshi on site reporting live at the events of that last game. Now, we're going to have to give him hints through our questions as to who exactly or what exactly we are following throughout that last game. And then after we ask our 3 questions each, Joshi will have to guess what we were following. Joshi, are you ready?
Hello, Steve. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes,
it's been wild out here. It has been a crazy game of League of Legends that we just had. I could still feel the wind blowing past as we see all these ultimates flying.
Joshi, I gotta ask, right off the bat, how did all this begin? What was the catalyst to this?
Well, it all started when Joey and Arrow started cuddling a little bit too hard on the couch. We weren't sure where everything was going to be going next, but when you have that much love concentrated in one place, you know sparks are going to be flying.
No. They call it a dance, but I want to know, how did you innovate this dance? How did you create this? What was the first move that really started this off for you, Josh?
Well, you know, it's a little bit embarrassing to start it off. We actually started tripping. And someone was like, yo, that's a pretty nice trip that you got there. But after that, we are still able to bring it back if you coordinate it a little bit and you figure out how to turn that into a dance move and do it on purpose without hurting yourself. It's going to look really cool.
What's the historical context of this?
Well, the historical context is when you do have to get some dancing, you're able to mix up a whole lot of different types. We've been seeing some techno across the board. There's definitely been opportunities for, you know, a long history of losses coming out from this kind of music to really transition to something cool.
And being so deep into this wooded area right here, how do you stay safe, Josh? I mean, there's so many dangers peeking out from every corner. Lions, tigers, bears, oh my.
Well, you have to make sure that if you're going to get all this techno and this tripping style, it kind of comes to mind. When you think of electronic music and tripping, obviously the first thing you think of comes to hikes. You got to go into the forest looking for ways to make sure all of your players feel at home.
Joshi, I got to give you props. It takes a lot of stones to walk up to such a powerful woman.
What can I say, man? When you have dance moves like this, there's nobody they can't approach.
And Josh, how's this whole thing unresolved? When does this end? This party's been going on for ages.
I mean, ultimately, at some point, we'll probably have to get a couple more bling. A single Trinity Force and Black Cleaver probably will not cut it at this point. And ultimately, you know, when I rage out, you won't like me when I'm angry.
All right, Joshi. That was our 3 questions. What do you think is behind you on the screen? What were we trying to highlight?
My guess is that this is probably when Concept walks up and they have the really long, drawn-out duel up against Pretty.
The long, drawn-up duel up against Pretty. It's close. Pretty close. You got one of the names right. What we were trying to highlight was mostly just Pretty's team fighting in the ERL rematch up against Leader. Because fun fact, there is some history between those two. So I'll give you half points. You got the Pretty part down.
I'll take it. Can I look at the screen again?
Yes, you can look up the screen, and you can turn back on your own green screen, so that way you're not just in the nether.
Just let him cast the rest of the day with that. Just keep the rest minimized. Just keep the rest minimized. He'll cast the rest of the day like that.
Here we go. Now Joshi can actually see what's going on.
Now we get a little bit of concept coming on the screen, right? You know, you walked up.
Yeah.
You had some good times. You know, Nar probably doesn't have the largest stones, but that's okay.
Well, I think that Pretty had some stones going up against Leader. That was the big point there, the fact that the Akali individually was finding a lot of plays, and it looked pretty cool at points, but then other points, it did not look nearly as good. Whereas Pretty, I think, much more consistent throughout that game. Had a more impactful performance overall when you factor in how the team fights went as opposed to some of these individual plays.
And that's definitely how I characterize Pretty overall, right? Incredibly consistent. He tends to stand in really good places for a lot of these fights, but he's not necessarily going to be the one who's always going to make the plays. If a play obviously presents itself, he'll go for it, but he won't necessarily try and force it a lot of the time, whereas Leader, I feel, has been very different across this entire series since his debut in Academy. He will try and make things happen. Even if they aren't always the best thing, he will always go for them.
Desrix, I believe you said it in the cast. It was like stepping up, throwing like the phantom blows or some kind of punch where it's like you have to react to it.
Oh yeah. You know, you throw a lot of those fake outs is what you do. You know, you feint a lot of your jabs, and you know, eventually people start reacting to the way you do that. You react to their reactions, and you find out plays that way. That's the way Leader has been playing a lot of these lanes and a lot of these moves, just trying to get people to react so he can capitalize on that.
Yeah, you gotta get the pump fake, right? You try and get the defender to jump up.
There we go. I'm an arm wrestler. I'm not a boxer, so I don't understand all the fighting
I think mine's a basketball reference, but the idea is still the same.
Oh.
You know? Sports, whatever. This is esports.
I outed myself as a I'm an esports fan, not a meat sports fan. So that's just differentiated for me. I can't take credit for that joke.
That sounds like the dumb garbage that I would say, man.
You do arm wrestling. Is that not a meat sport?
Well, that's more aggressive hand-holding than a sport, if we're going to be honest about it.
Jiu-Jitsu's aggressive cuddling. Come on.
Yeah, Joey and Arrow probably going to be great at that one, too. They have an opportunity right now, I want to remind everybody, of getting their first 2-0 in such a long time. Immortals, the next couple matches they have are against the few remaining teams below them in the standings. Joshi, you were the one that mentioned.
Yep.
Yes, they're on a long losing streak. 5 0-2s in a row, but 4 of those 5 were the top 4 teams in the league.
Yeah.
Now they have a much easier strength of schedule going forward. How much hope does this one win give you so far?
It gives me hope as to how they're going to be performing at Proving Grounds, right? But let's not change the fact that they are going up against TSM with a brand new roster. FlyQuest, who is still trying to find their footing, and Dignitas, who's been the consistent gatekeeper in terms of the 5th place spot. So while we're seeing some moments of brilliance from Immortals, we definitely want to see more of what we saw from them at the beginning of the season when they were able to blow apart games and not let go. It feels as though Immortals, a lot of their losses have been coming, and we even saw a little bit of it here. They just get a little sloppy and have one person too far forward.
I was feeling kind of bad. Desrix, I don't know if you know the context behind this, Joshi. I might have told you, but when I was gone for the first couple of weeks of Academy Summer Split, Immortals were sitting 50-50. They were deuces in their overall win-loss record. And then the day that I came back is the day they started their losing streak.
You cursed them. You cursed them, man.
I think I might have. I actually think I might have. But maybe it's because I didn't. No, I think I've requested a Joey interview every single time I've been on broadcast. I think I've actually.
You see what Chad said about that?
Chad said something? No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, no, he said it. He was talking to our producer, Kelsey, because we've been asking for Joey for interviews for forever. And Chad, to quote, "Hello, Kelsey. We have went 0-10 ever since you have asked to interview Joey. I must now kindly ask for you to stop. Thank you." So if Immortals win this game, we will finally get that Joey interview that we've been asking for weeks.
All right, that one might be on me. That one might be on me. Joey, pressure's off, okay? Don't think about the interview. Just think about this next game because of victory, and we finally get to chat. We are ready for pick and ban of game number 2, so I'm going to pass it back over to Deathbricks and Joshi.
All right, I'm going to cast a spell right now. We're removing the caster curse. Kangas is gone. Now we still got a fighting chance for Immortals Progressive as we head into the draft number 2.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. You just got to cast remove curse. I think it's a 3rd level spell slot, so it's not that bad. But Immortals, now, they finally got their win. Let's go. Golden Guardians still looking for their first win since Leader has joined. And remember, we're kind of expecting chaotic games coming out from these two teams, right? It is something where there's a lot more to work on individually. And so I can't imagine they're spending as much time looking at how to make all the same kind of setup plays that we expect from our top half teams. There's still a lot of newer players. There's still a lot of people that they're trying to integrate before they can get that. Prismal already role swapped relatively recently, and that means that we have to give him a little bit of a pass as he tries to limit test all of his abilities.
Having a little bit of a throwback right here, but both teams, they had mixed success when it came to that last game, so can't blame them for going for the throwback. Golden Guardians, it's the Wukong, it's the Gnar. And are we getting the GP? Are we getting the GP? Are we going to go back to the concept versus Vital GP Gnar angle?
I mean, so far, it has been a complete run back. I believe every single one of these champions was picked and banned last time. And so Golden Guardians, they picked Akali in this slot, but no! Leader is not going to be playing only melee champions, not just the Sylas and Akali. The Azir comes through, and that's one of the ones that I'm going to be real, I didn't have in my notes for him. Every single champion I had written down, Akali, Irelia, Sylas, Yasuo, Zed, all assassins, all these fighters, all melee champions. And so Leader trying to show us a different version of how he can play.
So Azir locked in for Leader, and that gives us our first phase of the draft. Now, with that game one, Josh, and it kind of felt like an exhibition match because everyone had that highlight reel moment. I'm wondering how the adaptation is going to go. We've already seen the first adaptation come out. Golden Guardians are not going to go into the Akali once again. They want to be a little bit more scaling-oriented as they grab the Azir.
Yeah, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... Marksman already banned off the table. We're really starting to get into the dregs of what people are trying to play, right? I was going to say Aphelios, but it's already been taken off the table. What is left? Lucian's gone. Kallista's gone. Xayah? Jinx? What are we expecting these guys to play at this point? Tristana? Seraphine
was left open.
Whoa.
Okay.
I like it. I actually like it quite a bit.
And still going to that very much team fight-oriented wheelhouse, especially towards the mid-game oriented that we had in the last game. Now getting a little bit of a late-game expansion.
Yeah. Oh, and the Senna was left up as well. I can't believe we forgot that. But we are getting two of the strongest characters in the game lock in back and forth. And while Golden Guardians, I like their composition in theory in terms of how this champion actually gets wins. Whoa, Caitlyn, we'll get back to this in a second. I'm not sure that the Seraphine actually lines up particularly well with the way that Golden Guardians has historically wanted to play, right? I've been saying that the way that they've been getting their compositions has been looking for these flanks, but this is definitely a straight up the pipe kind of way to play. And so, well, now that I think about it more, it might be exactly what they're looking for.
This is very interesting onto this draft so far. Immortals Progressive are going to get the Caitlyn Lux duo into the bot lane. We haven't seen that in quite some time, Josh, so getting that long-range harassment that you can get with that duo for Immortals.
Yeah, I mean, this is what happens. If you guys are looking for a Fearless, this is the kind of draft you're going to end up getting if this comes to Academy relatively soon, right? With so many extra champions taken off the table, Arrow and Joy playing the Caitlyn and Lux. Spring Split Special. They played this quite a bit as a duo. But as you look at Immortals, what do they have, Eric? They have a ton of one thing.
I see a ton of zone control that comes out to me right now.
Yes! I was going to use the word range, but I like that as well. They have so much control of the battlefield. But they have no way of getting fight started, right? If you want to try to get into Seraphine, you have to kill everybody else first. And that is exactly the way that the Seraphine likes to play the game. Golden Guardians are now putting a lot of pressure onto Vital in particular and a little bit of Pretty in order to try and find that barrel.
You're saying they have no engage, but Pretty would beg to differ because some of those seismic shoves he was getting in that game, number one, was all the engage that Immortals needed. But so far, I am actually quite liking the adaptations coming out of Golden Guardians. I like seeing Leader on the Azir this time. I'm curious what he can do with that, but I feel like it clicks a lot better with what Golden Guardians have brought as a total composition.
Yeah. And it's a little bit interesting to watch as their composition has evolved because, we initially set up, we were looking at concept trying to find laning advantages against Vital, right? Vital has been our weakest laner statistically across the board. But the player who I felt really played well, there were two. Like, Leader and Array actually played remarkably well. Unfortunately, as Ezreal, he didn't have a whole lot of agency. And now that he's on the Seraphine, well, he's the most important character on the entire map. He also doesn't have a whole lot of choices to necessarily make. He has a couple mechanical things we'll look at throughout the course of the game, but it's again going to be on Acadian and on Leader in order to make sure these fights go well.
Of course, the early game, I think, is very pivotal between both of these two squads. Chad has been one of the best when it comes to tracking a lot of his opposing junglers. Maybe not the best in decision-making. He does limit test quite a bit, but Acadian has been that foundational piece that has given Golden Guardians something to rise with.
Yeah, it's definitely an opportunity for them to try and come through, right? The early games from Immortals have given them some big wins over different teams. You can definitely throw a lot of junglers off kilter, but I don't think Acadian is likely to be one of them, right? He's typically been quite good at looking for these plays anyway. He'll sacrifice a lot of early game farm in order to make these ganks actually happen. So, you know, it's definitely a big opportunity to see how these junglers are going to be playing up against each other.
All right, so game number 2 now ready to hit the Rift. Big question here is, can Golden Guardians get a win back? Can they make this a tie? We'll find out in just a second as Immortals, they're sitting in prime position to continue that 2-0 they got the last time they met in this round robin. As we are getting some news right now, look at those summoner spell cooldowns. Concept accidentally burnt his flash. Ouch!
30 seconds until minions spawn.
Oh,
Ouch!
that's
hurts.
painful. That sucks. Yeah, press F to dance.
Press F to dance.
I didn't think it would work at the pro level, but Concept now, he got flashed on and killed by Vital previously. The only saving grace that Concept has now not having his flash is the fact that Vital doesn't know that. So he will play as though Concept still has his flash. And, you know, that might buy enough time. You don't generally see these early game plays necessarily having a big impact, but if Concept makes the same mistake that he made up against Vital at level 1 previously, where he just takes a ton of damage, Vital is going to be like, huh, he didn't flash again.
And you know Chad would just love to take that same jungle path he did last time, where he cleared out his blue side and then instantly just went over to top lane to try and interfere with Concept having a bad day. Fortunately, as he said, the knowledge is not there. They don't know the flash is burnt. As the hook comes out into the bottom lane, just getting some harassment on the arrow.
Good damage to come through, right? You definitely have a bit more sustain on Golden Guardians as this lane goes longer, but Acadian now on the bottom side of the map, right? Chad still on the top side, and he looked for, as you called out, the early dive, but the early lane has not gone in Vital's favor nearly as hard this time. Concept not allowing them to do anything.
Another hook comes in, and a lot of damage going on to Joey as the Ignite's going to be burnt, but Prismal is the one who falls low and hits the floor. First blood for Arrow.
Yeah, Prismal going in there. Remember, he's a lane swapped or a role swapped AD carry who's now coming down. He's playing in the support role, and this is one of the things that we've been looking at, right? He goes for every play he sees and still trying to figure out which ones actually work, and that one, not it.
Yeah, here we go already with the Immortals, Josh. They don't want to repeat that early game that we had last time where Acadian still had his impact. They want to make sure that it's in the hands of their own laners, in the hands of this Nautilus.
Yeah, I can't believe you're doing him like this, Lauren, right? He's just a boy. He's looking for his way back. But Arrow and Joey, they have so much range, just the last flash at the end. Not a whole lot that Prismal can do. And Arrow and Joey finding that first kill. This is what the Lux Caitlyn lane always looks to do. You want to have these laning advantages. You want to take away plates. And getting that first kill, skyrocketing your early lead, will allow you to get so much more gold off of this structure.
I get so much anxiety, Josh, whenever I look at the top lane between Vital and Concept. I'm just constantly waiting for someone to just fight it out right now, right then and there. They've done it in the last few games. See if it repeats right now, as Acadian is kind of hovering over here, realizing that Vital has run low, and Vital, with the wave crashing, is looking to take that recall as fast as possible. Meganar almost available. Acadian should make this a pretty easy dive. Boomerang's going to land. Falling low will be Vital as Concept secures the kill.
Well done. Good dive coming through. Vital saving his flash, saving his teleport, so he loses his life, but he won't lose too much of these minions as he teleports right back into the lane. Concept will clear out the wave. And that is what we were expecting Chad and Vital to try and do earlier to Concept in Game 1. But now it's Acadian and Concept who are making it happen themselves, and no counterplay coming out from Chad.
A little rough these laning phases have been for Vital. It shows the difference in experience when it comes to competitive, just coming out from solo queue. All that being said, though, I do hope that Immortals take a long time on developing Vital. Take a lot of time with working with him, as he's already showed a lot of promise in the teamfight phase. He's already showed a lot of promise in wanting to develop as a player. He has a lot of camaraderie with the squad.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely thinks Chad's the biggest coper, so...
Yeah. Of course, a big shout out to someone in the Twitch chat, Vital Love, who is the mother of Vital, watching out. Always got to give you know, attention to the parents,
shout out
supporting
to moms,
the parents. Dude. Shout out to moms.
Shouts to mom, shouting out their kids, coming and playing. Yeah, Vital, definitely looking for even more opportunities to prove himself. But you saw he kind of second-guessed himself as to whether or not he needed to back. Good damage. Nice dodge.
Ooh, Arrow with a nice sidestep. Making it hard for Arcadian to get in, but still going to try the engage. Prismal does not have a flash, so he can't go in with that flash hook, and Arcadian just can't get close enough.
Surprised that they continue trying to force that play to happen, right? Acadian's got plenty of camp still up, and you see that the question mark pings are coming through. Acadian is guessing that Chad can be taking away his Raptors. And Chad just power farming through, right? Making sure that he is staying ahead of where the monkey is as he continues to clear out all these camps. But Golden Guardians, right? We are going to be looking more at how they play later on. We knew Leader for being this side laner, for being somebody who's going to be looking for the assassinations, and going up against Pretty, I feel like he's now opted into Pretty's wheelhouse, right? This is the kind of game that Pretty loves. Mage versus mage, everybody just going to be standing up and delivering during all these team fights. And, well, Azir still has some big plays that you can make. Pretty still has been very good with throwing out the rocks.
A lot of the times when Immortals have net wins, it's been off the back of Pretty. It's been the Pretty show. First week, one of the things that pops out to me, and I know you were gesturing to it earlier, Josh, was the highlight reels that we have of Pretty. Just flanking, getting easy, seismic shoves. He's definitely a star member when it comes to this Immortal roster. Their hook comes out. Not finding much else, but you can see just the range coming out from both of these bot laners as Chad starts to set up towards his bot side.
This is a tough dive, right? Unless Pretty's able to come down. I think they should just be getting a plate and, you know, half of the next one. Here's the play.
Ooh, the Shurima shuffle comes out onto Pretty, but Pretty doesn't knock him into the right direction to really get much else out. Not even going to burn his flash.
It is a ghost for an ultimate trade in the mid lane, and Leader yet again finding a pretty large CS advantage in the middle lane. But IMT also grabbed the first dragon of the game. Remember, they sold Ocean Soul for much of the last game. Starting off quite well. Chad just quietly out farming, and already, right, we were at 60 kills at, like, what was it, 37 minutes, I think was the number that we were looking at. This time, much quieter. Teams, you know, too much. We had the big dance party, now it's time for the siesta.
It's time to take a break. We're a little bit older, Josh. We're senior citizens. We need our moments. We need our nap times.
Yeah. So
as we... No, you're in this with me, Josh. Don't even.
What?
Yeah, you heard me.
Nap too.
You're a league boomer.
Well, can't deny that one. But IMT, right, they have a lot of tools, but they don't have the same kind of mid-game that Golden Guardians will, right? And we're seeing Concept, this is when he really comes alive on the Gnar, has a lot of opportunity to just kind of run down Vital, as he already has the plated steel cap, has more movement speed. And Concept, he's doing a much better job this time, right? Not allowing Vital to kind of get the cheesy level 1 off. Concept has shown that he is, again, in a pretty decent spot. He's taking the skill matchup, he's going even, and he has his flashback, right? So the early flash mistake has not meant anything.
And this means a lot for setting up Rift Herald, which, I mean, you do got some pretty good wave clear coming out from both mid laners here, so it's a little bit in the air who's going to get priority onto that one. Junglers really need to play towards that top side. Concept has been playing towards it well, and with that vision established by Golden Guardians, it makes this a potential area to play around. Acadian's already pathing towards that area with his jungle camps. Chad just kind of waiting in the wings here, but is spotted out by the Scuttle Crab.
Yeah. Support is here. Prismal is hanging around, right? You don't tend to roam the Lux out of the lane, as it looks like Golden Guardians will likely take this uncontested. Their dive?
Oh, they're just going straight for it, but the Encore able to land, followed up with the snare coming out from Array. Array surviving this, playing this beautifully. No turret shots to come out to really punish him, but there is the light binding, and finally, Joey's able to land it.
There it is. Good patience coming out. Top lane, Concept.
Concept throws a house right over at Vital. Vital still living okay here, but he's far from his tower, and Concept now has that range form, so it's a guaranteed kill.
Didn't quite see the beginning of that, but now Acadian looking for an opportunity. Leader has the Emperor's Divide, but not going to be making the play this round. The Rift Herald does go down. Here's the counterplay.
It's fights going off all over the place, Josh, as you can't run fast enough.
One more.
Looking for one more.
Two
Even
more.
one more. Another one. One more on top of it. Finally, the shutdown comes through, and Array will grab that kill. But you wanted 60 kills a game, Josh. We're headed back in that direction.
That is a nice start coming through. Golden Guardians, they fire back a little bit. Concept gets the solo kill up top lane. Oh yeah, and they got the dive previous. I was like, wait, where's the other kill? But Array at the same time turning around, also having Prismal in his back pocket. They get the Rift Herald. We are right on back to even, and we're not done.
Oh, Chad with the flash onto Array, but can't get the stun, and Prismal pulls him right back in for the slow. Slow going to be found loose in Singularity, followed by the Light Binding to root up and guarantee a kill for Pretty.
Guaranteeing it goes over, giving Pretty a little bit of an advantage. And Prismal.
Oh, Prismal, wrong place, man. You just saw Pretty over there. You know what the seismic shove does. You can't give the disrespect.
Yeah, that's a big play. That's 2 kills already going over to Pretty, going up against Leader. And actually, Eric, I think you know something I don't. You were talking about the history between these two players. Tell me more. If we have a chance. No, we don't.
No, we don't have a chance right now. We have Vital. He's trying to run away. Flashes over the wall.
Now
We'll be fine. Now we have a chance. 2 players. What were we talking about?
Leader and Pretty. You said that they had a history between each other in the EU Masters. I didn't actually write that one down. Tell me about it.
That wasn't a fact I said. I think that was a Kangas one.
Was it Kangas?
That was Kangas.
Dang, it's Kangas.
Yeah.
How come you have to have prep that we don't?
It's the
so
wrong
we can't ask
ball
about it in the middle
guy,
of the game?
Josh.
Well, we got. I'm
insensitive.
imagining. Oh, it's the bottom lane coming through as we see Chad looking for an opportunity, and Array actually breaks his ankles really hard here, right?
Yeah.
Dodging away, going towards the other side, and he was so close to getting out. But Seraphine is many things, but fast is not one of them, and Pretty is able to pick that up. And unfortunately for Golden Guardians, this is a very classic mistake, right? There's a ward in that bush. It's a very common ward, and IMT just say, huh, he's not supposed to be there. They catch him out. They get another kill going over to Pretty. He's got to complete it Everfrost at 11 minutes, and he is ready to rumble for this dragon.
Ooh, Immortals showing up with all the drip that they need to take the fight. Now being started, Golden Guardians able to grab the dragon. 3.8 health remains. As coming in from both angles will be Immortals right here. Keep a close eye onto Joey and onto Pretty, who are coming in from different flanks with a lot of crowd control there. It'll land first shot. Final spark goes out, lands it onto Array. Pretty still stepping on the sides. Blast Flag going to be used. It brings Acadian into the party. Pretty now getting attacked by the dragon as he tries to join in time. Already kill goes through, but it's 2 netted right back over to Immortals as they will clean up the team fight. And said Leader heading for the hills, but nope, they want a little bit more than that. The Emperor trying to run away. Ace in the hole found by Arrow.
There you go. Immortals coming out to another big early lead. 4 kills on Pretty, 4 kills on Arrow. The battery that we saw last game, the absolute insane amount of damage they're able to put out is already coming to fruition. They were looking at a mid-game drop getting played by Arrow on this Galen. He was not going to be strong for a little while. And honestly, it didn't look as though he cared, right? He's like, yeah, that's fine. I'll just outplay all of this. And they get the dragon, they get a bunch of kills, they crash the Rift Herald mid lane, suddenly a 4,000 gold lead.
This is not looking like the last game, Josh. This is starting to look real good for Immortals as they're taking leads everywhere. They got the gold on the carries that they need to with Pretty and Arrow already sitting high up there. 5.9k over on Pretty, 6.3 on Arrow. The Vital has been the only one who's been struggling towards that top side, now playing it more into a weak side, who's doing decently well, at least trying to keep up with farm, but Concept getting the better over there. So somewhere that Golden Guardians can play around with Concept. He just finished his Trinity Force on top of that.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to look at Concept as the player that Golden Guardians can play around. He had a, let's be real, a dismal first game of the series, but he is doing much better. He's got his CS lead, he's got his Trinity Force first, he's coming alive as the Colt does get finished out, but he's got a much weaker rest of the team to play around, right? Remember, Array was like 4-0-4 around this time of the game. Acadian was doing much better in terms of farm, and alright, good pull from Leader. But Leader had an advantage, Acadian had an advantage, and so now Concept is kind of on the other foot. Concept was the one player that was really struggling in Game 1, but Golden Guardians, now the rest of the map is struggling. And I'm going to be honest, I play a lot of Gnar, I play a lot of Seraphine. I don't know how much Seraphine Array plays.
it's something we're definitely not used to seeing him play. 100 Thieves Next, it wasn't that common. So,
Yeah.
with his recent play, you know, we never really know with
played it
Grims
once.
how much he's been pulling it out.
Yeah, he's played it once on stage. I don't know if I casted that game. It doesn't stick out in my memory. But we've only seen one real fight coming through from him. He's done, you know, he did a decent job resisting the dive to start off the first play. But Seraphine's a team fighter, right? You don't play this champion to win the lane.
I mean, Array's always been a team fighter on top of that. So, standards align, at least, when it comes to bot lane for Golden Guardians Academy.
Yeah, nothing for a damage build. But Array looking to have a bit more control. We have another Rift Herald spawning, and Golden Guardians are here first, right? They have the front-to-back tools for a team fight. I don't think IMT want this.
Yeah, this is too tough right now. You're not at the stage where your poke is going to be too effective.
Oh!
Ooh, hooked right in. Nice hook comes out, and an even better Encore to follow through. It's not going to start the team fight, but it is enough to dissuade Immortals. Still buying time. The return comes out from Chad. We'll secure it. It belongs to him. That's his Rift Herald. Get out of here, Golden Guardians. Out comes a seismic shove onto the clone. Array's caught out now. Hook's not going to land, and Vital, he's been needing a kill. Chad will be able to steal it away. Golden Guardians, it's looking so bad for them. They came for a fight. Now they want none of it as they run away.
Yeah, Concept not able to participate while Array had a crazy ult. There was no follow-up in Immortals.
Pretty. No seismic shoves, man. It's so filthy, Josh.
Man, this is looking to be a much faster game than the previous one we saw, right? Another turret goes down over in favor of Immortals, 7,000 gold. They're up 2 dragons. They have so much to play around. We saw 4 kills on Pretty. We saw 4 kills on Arrow. It is Balloon. And again, as they crash these waves, we're very quickly jumping through the part where Immortals were supposed to be weak. But it starts out with Prismal being a little bit too far forward here, right? Chad getting the smites, not letting Acadian win it this time. And Array having to use his flash. He doesn't have anything left, right? He doesn't have his W available. He used it earlier on to try and shield damage from the Rift Herald and puts Golden Guardians in a spot where they have no damage, right? Azir's not online yet. Gnar isn't a primary damage threat at this point. You need more time, and Immortals, they recognize that. They recognize they were far enough ahead that the mid-game trough Caitlyn doesn't matter. And Arrow, that's the second time I've said that. He's again outperformed what his champion is expected to.
Do we call that another pump fake right there with the Everfrost to set up the seismic shove?
Is it a pump fake if you just thought?
That's a little bit of a pump fake. You're trying to get them to dodge into the seismic. I mean, Pretties looks so good on this Talia, though. I just got to throw that out. 4-0-3 right now.
It's one of his best champions,
it
right?
Seriously is.
Last I checked, he was still tied for most kills in a single game in Academy on his Talia game. I think it was 14 that he had.
Yeah.
4-0-3, looking pretty darn good. They're setting up right now. The teleport's available from Vital. I didn't think they went in the previous fight, but they just did it anyway, and it worked out. So Immortals lining up. And remember, their engage is mostly focused around Pretty using this wall effectively.
But look at all those mythics that's been picked up by Immortals so far. Already working on second items, especially with Arrow, who has his Bloodthirster completed on top of it. So this is prime fight position coming out for Immortals. Ace in the hole going to be used, lands onto the leader, full damage coming out.
Oh, that's
Weaver's
the
wall
shield.
going to be used. And completely cutting off the retreat from Golden Guardians. Immortals see an easy fight to take, and they will clean up Golden Guardians with relative ease. Dragon belongs to them.
All right, okay. I thought for a little while that this might be the way that Golden Guardians want to play. I want to go back to our previous draft from them. I like the Akali better. I like the Ezreal better. Golden Guardians, they feel lost right now.
Yeah.
Immortals corralling them, putting Array in a little box so it's easy to hit him with a seismic shove.
I thought it was going to be better with the Seraphine. We haven't seen him play it too much. Leader stepping away from his comfort zone onto that. And with those two picks, I mean, they kind of got bullied, to put it lightly. I mean, Prismal got dropped so many times by Joey in those light bindings. Especially with these fights right here.
Look at where Array is stuck, right? Like, what is he going to do?
Where do you run?
Nowhere. I mean, you're dead. But that's the thing that we said. Birdie was going to be the engage tool. He corrals people into a corner. It's a choke point where it's nothing left for him to do. And Pretty's got his ghosts. He's fast enough. He's out of there.
Can't stop him. You can't stop Pretty. Chase him down. Send 3 members to deal with him. He just Everfrost and gives a little dance away. Makes it look easy. It's going to be the Pretty show once again.
Yeah, 5-0-4, Arrow 6-1 and 2. Actually had a really darn good laning phase earlier on. And that's not something we are not expecting from Arrow, right? Arrow and Joey actually have a pretty darn good laning phase. They win a lot of lanes. But it's their mid game that we have had a little bit of questions about. And so far, Arrow's only gone down the one time. Needs to make sure he doesn't get separated like he did in the first game. But there's not the same kind of like long-range damage that he needs to worry about, right? Array's not going to be jumping on top of him. If Array is diving Arrow, Arrow's like, oh, okay, I'll shoot you first, I guess. And so Golden Guardians, you know, normally I say if you're a Seraphine comp and you're about 3,000 gold behind at this point, you're basically even. You're not even if you're down 10,000 gold.
It's not just the Seraphine, it's the Azir. So behind leader is. Has been CSing quite well, but dying down twice. Pretty has been active in these flanks. Now Golden Guardians are looking to make a play happen. Light Binding not going to land. Golden Guardians, I mean, there's not really much left for them to do. There's not much that they can do against Immortals. They really have to pick their fights incredibly carefully.
Yeah, the zone control too coming out, right? They're not able to pull the trigger. They know the Cannon Barrage is available. They know the Weaver's Wall is available. They can't afford to get caught out in anything less than a stellar fight. So Golden Guardians, right now, it's the same Dragon, it's the same Ocean Soul that Immortals are getting ready to play up against. They are getting ready to take everything off the map. They don't really need to play for this Baron because there is no threat of Golden Guardians actually doing it. As long as there's like a single ward, Immortals are very happy to play towards the other side of the map. And Golden Guardians, their 1 point of strength with Concept. He's now behind.
Concept could get in, get a Meganar ultimate. Even that might not be enough because of how spaced Immortals are going to be in a lot of these fights. You know, you were talking about the range earlier. That range means they're not going to be grouping as much. Out comes a barrel from Vital, who will flash right over the Emperor's Divide. And this territory no longer belongs to you. It belongs to Vital with one more Q, one more auto.
Yar, you landlubber. Yar. That's magical. He was a pirate yesterday, and now Immortals, they're like, yeah, we can do the dragon later. We got some barons to kill. Immortals taking total control. Acadian, he's gotten a couple of these smite steals before, but he's too far.
Way too far off. Immortals secure Baron, and game number 1, it was back and forth, but in this game number 2, Josh, Immortals came to play.
Yeah, history is repeating itself, right? The last 2-0 they got was against Golden Guardians. The next 2-0 they're getting likely to be against Golden Guardians as well, and with 1:20 left on the Dragon, that's typically our team fight timer, but Golden Guardians, this is their last hurrah, probably. This needs to be their finest hour. They need to set things up well. They have the flash on Array, but he's only on a single item. It's very, very difficult for him to do the damage, for him to find a position where he can actually hit. And it's on the Seraphine to keep them all alive. They find one. Maybe?
It's the best chance right here to go for picks and the outright fights. Vital takes down Acadian still. It's not going to mean a damn thing because it's a 1-for-1 trade and Immortals are sieging top. Not done yet. Looking for leader. Emperor's Divide goes out, but he's stuck in the Weaver's Wall. Pushed right in with the Seismic.
That's the second time. Pretty's had some fantastic Weaver's Walls, corralling people. 505 inhibitor goes down. It's a 4v3. I don't think Immortals... Chad, you don't have the Emperor's Divide. Just going to make sure we are on the same page there. You cannot make the same kind of plays. They stop Pretty.
Oh, Pretty gets hooked in. Meganar ultimate going to be used. Pushes Pretty right into the wall. One more auto to finish him off. And it's a shutdown. It's a shutdown picked up, Josh. What can they do with this?
It's a shutdown at the right time. But already Immortals are moving over. Joey, Chad, and Arrow, probably the most outspoken members of the team for what we saw in their house tour, ready to go in. They are one dragon away. They hop over the wall. Acadian, he needs to find another smite steal.
All or nothing. All or nothing coming out. Secured. Immortals will get Dragon Soul and will turn their attention on a Concept. Now running out. Golden Guardians, no chance. They can't get the Dragon Soul. They can't get the Baron. Everything belongs to Immortals.
And you see that damage coming through from Arrow already? He is so strong. He's on 3 items. This is Arrow no longer in that trap that Caitlyn has always been in. Suddenly 3-item Arrow just... He might actually one-shot Array if Array steps on a trap.
I want to see it. I want to see it. Just get a net. Just get a net. Just get a net. That'd be just as easy. Because right now, Arrow's kind of evolved. He's no longer Arrow.
Oh.
Straight up cannonball.
They're trying.
He's looking for Array.
Right.
200 health.
Okay.
Almost took him down. Cannon barrage from Vital. Come on, man. That's not
Excuse
nice.
me,
That's
rude.
That's rude.
Immortals coming in with a total domination in this game. So different from what we saw. Half the game time on the board right now as they get all 3 inhibitors. Array is dead. And with it, Golden Guardians' hope for coming back in this game are gone.
It's been loss after loss for both of these teams. Someone has to break that streak, and that someone is going to be Immortals Academy. A tough fight between 2 squads in game number 1, but in game number 2, Immortals came to play. They will end a 5-series loss streak, taking down Golden Guardians Academy.
And as Immortals turn around their fortunes, we have to look at the rest of the season, right? There's not a whole lot left to go. As, we see a couple more kills coming through for Immortals, padding that KDA, but they get the Nexus. But we have to look, right? Remember, Golden Guardians currently are a last place team. They get to go to Proving Grounds, but their next opponents are 100 Thieves, CLG, and they might have a little bit of an opportunity up against TSM as their last opponent in the regular season. But again, let's give Golden Guardians the benefit of the doubt for now. Let's give them an opportunity to see what kind of growth they're going to make. This is their second day of games on stage. They've had maybe 2 days of scrims before that. This is not their final form, so let's give them an opportunity to continue showing us what they can do.
But at the end of the day, Immortals Academy are going to be your victors. Great display coming out from the full roster. We're going to throw it over to short break. When we return, Kangas will have an interview with one of our winners, so be sure to catch that.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our post-series interview with the one and only Immortals Academy support, Joey, proving that we did not curse you on broadcast by requesting you the last 5 series that you have played. And as I want to start things off, Joey, with a 5 streak of 0-2s, I just want to check, how was the team environment like coming into this series against Golden Guardians?
I mean, it was a little rough going into this the entire week because we were 0-8, and like we knew we were playing EGA and GGA, and we're like, for sure we'll beat one of these guys. Like, they're not really the greatest team, so we had a lot of confidence going into the week, even though we were on like a downswing. And it feels really good to actually be able to bounce back. Like the second game versus Golden Guardians, we actually started playing really well again. It feels like we're starting to get our stride again, so hopefully we can use that momentum for the rest of the split.
What did it feel like when things started to finally click? Because I think that we also identified that. Game 1, it was back and forth. It was a long slugfest, but Game 2, much more calculated, much more controlled.
It just felt really good. It felt like me and Arrow were playing our bot lane matchup really well. We actually hadn't practiced Kate Lux, I think, the entire split, but it was something we played last split a lot. And like 1 second left on the clock, we're talking about Senna, and he's just like, I think Caitlyn's good here, and he locks in, and we just like piss smurfed it in the bot lane, so it felt pretty good.
You played a couple of interesting picks this week because you also did the Nico lane with the Callista. Explain to me a little bit about that against Evil Geniuses earlier on in the week, because I'm always curious, like, how much do you practice things like that before you're comfortable bringing it out on stage?
So I've been trying to play Nico in Academy for 2 years now. So I finally found the opportunity where I can actually play it. It's really strong with the Callista Nico because you can use the Nico ulti while the Callista's ulting and then throw it in, and it's like a really OP combo. I did it a lot in the first game versus them, and like the laning is really strong. But it's one of those picks where you like kind of have to like win lane and play really, really well to actually make it look good. And I think I did that on the first game, and then the second game I kind of sprinted it. So hopefully I'll be able to show it again because I actually think it's a very strong pick, and I feel like I'll get a win on it next time.
It was really cool to watch it, and the theory was there, right? And I'd love to see you get a win on that one. You have 1 more week left in the Academy regular season. 3 more games, or 3 more series rather, ahead of you against TSM, FlyQuest, and Dignitas. What are you focused on? What's the team focused on? What are you individually focused on going into this final week to set yourselves up for success? Make sure you're in good form, because in spring you made a very deep run to top 3 improving grounds. How are you going to try and replicate that this summer?
I think what's like really important for our team is me and Arrow become a lot more consistent in stomping players. Like, we're doing it somewhat consistently, but we really need to like use our leads and actually carry with them. Because when we're getting the leads, like sometimes we're not fully carrying, so we have to be a lot more disciplined in our gameplay. And I think that's just like the goal for Immortals as a team right now. Is like even when we get leads, like we're playing versus top teams like the week before, and when we went 0-8 or 0-10 or whatever, like we were playing versus good opponents, and the games were still looking competitive for the most part in a lot of them. And we would just like mess up like one clutch moment, or we just have a little bit less discipline. We would just die when the fights were won or something like that. So I think for Immortals Academy, it's really just about focusing on the discipline. And if we can get that going into Proving Grounds, I think we'll be able to make another deep run.
Chad, sorry, I had something right there. I want to bring something up here, Joey, because I saw at the beginning of the month. This question's been prepped for the last 5 interview requests. I hope you're ready for this one. You saw at the beginning of this month the new Top Gun movie with the team. I noticed that on your socials. So I'm gonna list you a couple other 80s action movies that are in desperate need of a remake or some kind of sequel, and you get to vote on which one you want to see. Okay, are you ready?
Okay. Yeah.
RoboCop, Bloodsport, Over the Top, Conan the Barbarian. Which one deserves a remake or a sequel?
I think Conan the Barbarian, and then I think they could probably cast this really like good known actor. His name's Bop in the show Players. Like I don't know if you've heard of him. I think he'd be like great for the part. Like he has the long hair and everything. I think they should do it with him.
Yeah. I can picture the battle cry right now. Actually, that's perfect. Well, either way, once it releases, I hope I get to see you and Bob cuddling in the theater on the release night. Thank you so much, Joey, for coming on for our post-series interview. Congratulations on ending the losing streak, and best of luck going into next week.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Bye.